Hello guys, welcome to JHook, and in the fifth part of this series we are gonna see how we can install WordPress using Helm Chart. For today's session we are gonna set up first the Kubernetes cluster, second we need a Helm Chart installation if you haven't done before, and the third thing we need to have the Bitnami WordPress repository added into our Helm Chart repo so that we can fetch the Helm Chart for WordPress and then perform the installation. There's one thing which I would like to mention over here. This whole setup cannot be performed on your local virtual machine Kubernetes cluster setup. If you are trying to set up on your local laptop using virtual machine, then it will not work. The reason is Kubernetes needs a dynamic volume provisioning, and that cannot be done on your local Kubernetes cluster setup. So either you can go with the Google Cloud or AWS. So for demo purpose, you can use the Google Cloud $300 credit for 1 year, I think, and that is free. So I think you can perform this setup on your Google Cloud platform. I think similar package we have available on the AWS also. So go out and check for that free tier also. But for today, I'm going to use the Google Cloud platform to perform this demo. Here on the screen, you can see on the left hand side, this is my Google Cloud platform where I'm going to set up my Kubernetes cluster for this Helm chart installation. And on the right hand side, you can see this guide. This guide I have prepared for all the steps which I'm going to execute during this installation process. So all the commands which I'm going to use during this demo, you can find in this guide. I'll put the link of this guide into the description section so you can come back and check this guide anytime. Let's start with the prerequisites. So as I told you, we need a Kubernetes cluster setup already. So we are going to use Google Cloud. So that's the first prerequisite we need to have. Second, we will be using Helm 3.0. So that's the version of a Helm we are going to use. And third point is that regarding the dynamic volume provisioning. So you can click here to find more detail because you cannot do it on your local Kubernetes cluster setup. You need to have a cloud services. So here's the link. You can find out the more details about what is dynamic volume provisioning. Moving to the step number second, we need to set up our Kubernetes cluster on our Google Cloud platform. So head over to Google Cloud platform. In the left navigation menu, you will see a compute section, and inside compute section, go to Kubernetes engine and go for cluster. So here we are going to create a cluster. So just click on create cluster. And after that, we need to fill in some detail like cluster name and the version of Kubernetes engine which we are going to use. So all these details I have mentioned over here. So here in the name, I'm keeping JHook WordPress, but in your case, you can put whatever name you find useful for your need. So this is I'm going to choose. Second, we need to select the zone. That is your based on geographical location. Since I'm based in Europe, so I'm going to choose Europe North A. It will choose the nearest server for you. And third, that is the Google Kubernetes engine version. So since I'm recording during that time, I had 1.16 version, so it might be different when you are doing this installation. So, but remember to keep the default version there. Okay, so just click on create now. And it might take a 1 or 2 minutes to set up your Kubernetes cluster. And here you can see this is in progress. So it is creating the cluster right now. So I'll be back once this cluster is up and ready. As you can see, this green icon over here, that means our cluster is up and running. So now we need to connect to our cluster using the command line interface, and that we can do if you go ahead in the guide. So this is the step where we need to connect. So here on the Google Cloud, on the left hand side, you can see a connect option. So just click on connect, and it will pop up with a command that you need to copy. This command which we are going to use to connect to our Kubernetes cluster. So after that, you need to click on run in Cloud Shell. And on the bottom, you will see a new window opening that will be your command line interface to connect to Google Cloud or the Google Kubernetes engine. Okay, so the command which we have copied, by default it will be available over here. So what you need to do is you just need to hit enter, or in case if it is not available, then you need to paste that command. It is asking you to authorize it, so just click on authorize. And now you're connected to your Google Kubernetes engine. Okay, so I'm going to open in a new window so that it will be, we will have a little more space to work on. Okay, so now we are connected to our Google Kubernetes engine. So there is one verification which you can do. If you go further in the guide, there is a command kubectl get node that will tell you like how many nodes you are running. So just copy and paste the command, and you should see the 3 nodes over here because we have gone with the default cluster setup. And all are in the ready state. You can see in this state column. Okay, that means our Kubernetes cluster is up and running. And one more thing, this cluster is a very fresh cluster, so we don't have a Helm chart up and running or Helm chart installation done before. So we need to install the Helm chart. And for that, there is a one more guide, or there is one more session which I did previously. So I'll put this link of installing Helm chart in the link description of this video so that you can follow if you don't have the Helm chart installation already. So I'm gonna just copy this script for installing the Helm chart and paste it over here. And after that, we need to change the mode to the execution that I did it. And now I need to execute the script. This script is provided by a Helm chart community, so you can copy it from here. All right, so now our Helm chart installation has been done, and you can verify the installation by running the command helm version. And here you can see the version is 3.4.1. Now after installing the Helm chart, let's go ahead in the guide and check. Okay, this is our installation guide that we don't need to check it. Okay, the third step after installing the Helm chart, if you don't have it, then the third step is we need to look for the WordPress Bitnami repository, because this WordPress Helm chart is maintained by Helm community on the Helm hub. So we need to add that hub repo into our Helm chart installation, which we just did on our Kubernetes cluster. So this is our third step in a nutshell. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna check like how many WordPress repos are available on the Helm hub. Okay, so I'll copy the and paste this command. So it will search for. I'll increase the size of this screen. So you can see these many WordPress repo which are available. So here we are having Bitnami, there is a Groundhog, secure code box, but I'm going to use the Bitnami, which is like a Bitnami. The Helm is maintained by Bitnami, so I always go with the any repository which is there in the Bitnami. So we will go with this repo. Okay. Okay, so if you go back to the guide, so here we will see I have mentioned the same thing over here. And if you are looking only for the repo URL, then you can use this command also. It will also give you a similar output with the complete URL. So here you can see this is like a shorten the URL, but here with this command, like a max column width equals 0, so it will give you the full URL of any Bitnami repository or the Helm Hub repository. Okay, so we are going with the Bitnami WordPress repository. I'll clear the screen. And yeah, so what we need to do is we need to add this repo. So that is our next step. Add Bitnami WordPress repo to your Helm chart. Okay, so first of all, check how many repo you already have. It might be possible you already have this added. If in case it is not, then we are gonna add it. So first of all, check how many repos are there. So I'm gonna paste the command, and here you can see I have already added this Bitnami repo to my Helm chart installation. Okay, so I don't need to add it. So in case if it is not, this list is empty. Here you can see on this console, if this list is empty, then you need to perform this command helm repo add bitnami, and this will add this repo to your Helm chart installation inside your Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so I am assuming that you have added this repo inside your Kubernetes cluster after installing the Helm chart. Moving further in the guide, the next thing which we need to check is we need to check the WordPress version which we are going to install. So this is the command for checking the version, how many versions are available for WordPress inside our Bitnami repo. So I'll copy this command and paste it over here. So here you can see this is a long list of all the WordPress chart versions which are available over here. And I think when I was trying to do this demo, perform this demo, so I had a version 10.0.3, and now when I'm recording this video, then there is one more version which is available, 10.0.5. Okay, since I have prepared all the command with the version 10.0.3, then I'll go with that version, but you can choose the higher version also. That should be absolutely okay. Okay, so this is the command for checking the WordPress version. The next thing is, if you are interested in further more, then there is a README file. If you might be familiar with this README file also. So you can check the README file also, where they mention all the installation instructions. So this is the command for going through the README file. So it's just simple command helm show README, then the repo name, that is Bitnami WordPress, and the version. And version you can get it from the previous command which I just showed you. So that is 10.0.3. Okay, so I'll copy this command and paste it over here, and it should show a very long readme file. I hope it's not readable to you right now looking at this, but in case if you're interested, then you can just go and check this readme file also. Okay, but it has nothing to do with our installation. It's just an additional step which I just wanted to show you. Okay, moving further, there is a one more, the values actually. This values is little special because if you know a little bit about WordPress, then you need to have a username, password, and a user setup basically already done in our WordPress so that we can access the WordPress portal. So this values file inside this Helm chart stores all these kind of a values like a username, password, your database URL, because WordPress has a database running behind the scene, that is MariaDB in our case, or MySQL. If you are going with the MySQL, then there will be MySQL. So all these kind of values are stored inside this values.yml. So if you are interested in that part also, then you can also see these values by running this command. Again, it will be a very long file. So here you can see this database host, that is localhost, and the username is bn WordPress, password is empty. So all these values are stored inside this values file. Okay. This is a very long file. It contains all the configs for WordPress. But again, it has nothing to do with our installation step, but just it is just an additional step if you are interested in viewing more details. Moving to the fourth number step, where we need to set up our user account actually. So that user account we are going to store inside the YML. So we are going to create a YML where we are going to use username jhook, its password that is also jhook, email, first name, last name, and the URL, and the service type load balancer. This service type load balancer is for Kubernetes service, which we are going to expose after the installing our WordPress. But yeah, let's go ahead and create our WordPress values.yml, because this is we are gonna need during the installation of our WordPress. Okay, so in this terminal, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a directory WordPress, and you can see over here mkdir. Sorry, I have put incorrect command, and this word directory is created. Sorry, I have created with the wrong name. I'll remove it, and I'll create one more time WordPress. Okay, and I'll move to this directory cd WordPress and clear screen. Okay, now we need to create this WordPress values.yml. So I'll copy this command, paste it over here, and I should see a file. Yeah, this is this YML has been created, and now I'll open in the VI mode. Okay, that's done. And now I need to copy this value. So here I'm copying the username, that is jhook, and the value password, email, and primary. This is the very first account which will be created as soon as I install my WordPress. Okay, so I'll copy all of these values and paste it over here, and just look if there are any missing thing over here. So here you can see I think copy paste didn't work properly, so I need to correct these values. Okay, now everything is correct. So I'll skip, I'll save and quit it. Okay, I'll clear the screen, and we can verify whether our changes has been saved successfully or not. So I can use the cat command, and yeah, everything has been saved in the file. Okay, so that is our step where we are creating this user account details and storing it in YML. Moving to the step number 5, we need to install the WordPress now. Okay, so for that, if you are familiar with the namespace, then I'm going to create a separate namespace for this WordPress installation. So this namespace I'm creating dedicatedly for WordPress installation. And this namespace in Kubernetes world, it's just a isolation, or it's just a logical separation of different instances or different deployment running inside your Kubernetes cluster. So I'm creating one namespace for WordPress, and you can create any n number of WordPress for different types. So if you are running a WordPress, if you are running any other blog, then create a different namespace and do the installation for that blog or any application inside that namespace. Okay, so let's go ahead, and the namespace name is ns I just created for namespace, and then followed by WordPress. Okay, and this is the command kubectl create namespace. These three are keywords, and finally the name of namespace which I wanted to have. So just copy this command and paste it over here. So as you can see, the namespace has been created. This is the message which I got. And you can verify the namespace by running this command whether that namespace has been created successfully or not. So here you can see this has listed all the namespace. This is the default. This is also by default. This is also default, which already created once you set up a Kubernetes cluster. And this is the one which I have created 11 seconds ago. Okay. Okay, so now we have the namespace. So every command which we are going to do, or every installation step we are going to do, we are going to perform inside this namespace. Okay. All right, so let's move ahead. Now, the next step is we need to install the WordPress. So this is the command for installing the WordPress. So the command is helm install WordPress. That's the name of our package. Sorry. And this is the repo URL. Okay, that is Bitnami WordPress. Then followed by values, that is WordPress values.yml. Now you remember I have created this values.yml, so I'm supplying this values.yml during my installation command. Okay, and then third, that is namespace ns WordPress. So this namespace I have just created, so I'm using this namespace. So this installation will be performed inside this ns WordPress namespace. And finally the version. So version I am using is 10.0.3, and this version you can use any version name which is available, or any latest version name. Okay, I'll copy this command and I'll paste it over here, and it should take some time. And yeah, as you can see, this installation went okay, but we need to verify it. We need to verify all the deployment, all the services one by one, so that we can see our WordPress installation is successful or not. Okay, but remember one thing, try to copy all this output somewhere in the notepad, because we are going to need it. Okay, so I'll copy this. Actually it is copied once you just select all this on a Google Cloud, so it by default copies you. Okay, so I copied this and I'll store it on a notepad. So here is my notepad where I copied all the output after running my install command. So we need to, there are certain command which is like given as an output of my installation command. So I need to run this command. So these commands are these, if I can highlight you. These are the command which we are gonna need to access our URL. Okay, but we'll go through this, and we'll see how. First of all, we need to check the installation, whether all the deployment and services are up and running or not. We'll come back to these commands later. Okay, now we need to verify whether all our deployment and services are up and running or not after executing our install command. Okay, so for that, just I need to skip some of the steps over here. I'm not skipping, I'm just like moving forward, and there is one command. This is the command which outputs all the resources like deployment services which are running inside our namespace. That is our NS WordPress namespace which we have created. Okay, so we are just gonna execute this command to see whether all the deployment services are up and running or not. So I'm not skipping any steps. I'm just copying this command from this step. Okay, so I'll copy this command and I'll just go back to the previous step where we were. Okay, so we'll resume from here. But anyway, just see the output. So here you can see once we executed the install command, so it has created two pods and both are ready and running. Okay, so that are running from 5 minutes. And then it has created two services, that is WordPress and WordPress MariaDB, because WordPress is the front end and this is the database, and that is also up and running. And after that, it has one deployment, and that deployment with the name WordPress, it is also ready in a ready state. That means it's also running. And the replica set, so we are only running the one replica of this whole setup, whole this WordPress. So that is also running. And the same goes with the WordPress MariaDB also. So that means our installation command is successful now. So everything is up and running, and there is no issue with this status if you see over here, and nothing with the 0/1 that denotes like nothing is running, or no MariaDB or WordPress deployment is running. Okay, so that means our installation went fine. Okay, so I'll press Control C so that I can execute. This is the very useful command which I find, watch X followed by kubectl get all and followed by the namespace, in which namespace you want to see. Okay, that's been done. Let's go ahead in the guide, and here I told you to copy this output, so I just mentioned the same output over here also. But anyway, let's go back to that notepad. So this is my notepad where I copied all this command. So here, if you see the output over here, so you need to look for these commands actually. The commands are export service IP, because we need to prepare the URL for accessing our WordPress installation. We have installed our WordPress, so it should be accessible via URL. So this is the step which I'm doing. So what this command is doing is, this command is pretty much exporting the IP address on which my WordPress installation is running. And this is finally outputting as a WordPress URL. Okay, so first of all, just copy this section and paste it over here. Okay, and it will by default put the next command over here. So after that, just hit enter one more time. And this is the WordPress URL which you need to copy again. And this is your WordPress URL for accessing your WordPress portal. Okay, so go back to your browser, and I'll open a new tab and paste it over here. Oh, sorry, I need to remove this part. We don't need this. Okay, so this is the exact URL which you need, and then hit enter. And here you can see our installation has been done, and this is my default home page of my WordPress. Okay, this WordPress blog is pretty much empty because yeah, this is a fresh installation and we haven't done anything. Okay, so this is the front end, or the front end part of our WordPress. There is a one more admin portal, and there is a one more special URL that we need to access. So now previously we have run these steps. Now we need to run the step for admin URL. So copy this and paste it over here and hit enter. So it's nothing, just appending a admin at the end. Okay, copy it. If you are not sure, then just go here and paste it. And remember, while copying it, add some extra characters, so remove it and hit enter. So this is the admin section of my WordPress installation. And if you remember, I have set the username jhook and the password also jhook. Okay, so I'm putting it the same username and password, and click on login. And here you can see now we are logged in inside our admin portal of my WordPress. Moving back to the guide, this is the command which I have copied over here in case if you don't, or if you, in case if you miss to copy this command into your notepad, then you can copy this command also. That should work. And this is the URL which I got when I was trying to do the demo, but this IP address keeps on changing because it's a load balancer IP, and it might be different in your case, but the remaining URL structure would be pretty much same. Okay, the last step which I have already shown you, this is the watchx kubectl get all namespace ns WordPress command, which is like used for monitoring the different instances, deployment services of your WordPress, so that you can use. And this is the last step which I just wanted to put you. And yeah, so this is the installation of WordPress on Google Cloud Platform using a Helm chart. In the next demo session, we are gonna convert a simple Kubernetes deployment into a Helm chart deployment. So in that session, we are going to focus on Kubernetes deployment YML, Kubernetes service YML, and how can I convert those YMLs into a Helm chart installation. I hope you liked today's session on installing WordPress on a Helm chart. If you have any question, then please put down into the comment section. And also you can follow my channel where I keep on posting on a weekly basis regarding the DevOps on Kubernetes and Helm chart. And also you can follow my blog, that is jhook.com, where I keep on preparing this guide and updating on a regular basis. So if you see any changes, then please let me know. If you like to make any changes to the guide or step, then I would be happy to do it. Stay tuned and follow for more similar updates. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.